Hi guys, and welcome to this video. This is Jamie from System22 and GreatWebDesign.com. We're going to continue on with our Bootstrap build here, our one-page scrolling site. Let's just go down to where we left off last time, which was the portrait section. We're going to add another section after the portrait section here and call it the wedding section, I believe. What we're going to do, we're going to make it a parallax section, or at least fake parallax. And what that means is that the image behind is going to stay stationary while we're scrolling up and down. It's a very eye-catching technique. Let's just do it and I'll show you exactly what I mean. So let's go to our index.html and open it with our brackets. For those of you that have not been watching before, the link to this free text editor, brackets, can be found below this video. And with all our other, as with all our other videos, the CSS and HTML I'll make downloadable in a PDF link below this also. So if we look at our index.html, let's go down to where we last were, which is right here. I'm going to copy over my contact section yet again. And I'm going to call this wedding section. Spell that right, shall we? There we go. Okay, so we've actually created our section here within a container. I'll just save that, Control S, and if we go to our CSS, the file we've been working on is this scrolling nav here, and just open it with our brackets. I've already got mine open here. And let's just copy over that contact section. It's going to be way up the top here. And let's go down the bottom. I'm actually going to call this the parallax section. Actually, I think there's only one R in parallax. And paste in our contact section CSS there, and we'll change this to wedding. That's what I believe I called it. And we'll give it the same padding on the bottom as we've got on the top, which is what we've done for our other sections. Okay, so that should do that. Quick save there. Now what we've actually got to do is set up our parallax CSS to make our page scroll. So if we do parallax, we're creating a class. Open and close some curly brackets here. And we want to make our background fixed so it stays in the same place. So let's go background, attachment, and we're going to give it the class of fixed. And I think we've got to make that important. We've got a semicolon there instead of a colon. Let's fix that. fix, and we'll make this important to make sure that it's going to happen every time. And we've actually got to go and do what they call some WebKit for different browsers. You have to specify certain different CSS. So we'll go WebKit dash background size. And again, we want it to cover the background. And we'll make this important also. Make sure it happens both times. Then you've got to do one for Firefox. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this. Actually, just put a semicolon after that. And we'll do one for Opera as well, which is a new one. So I need to put Moz for Mozilla Firefox. For Opera, we just need to put an O. This way, it should work in all browsers here. And then we'll just put a plain background size cover. That way, anything else should just pick this up. So we've got all those bases covered. Now, I'm going to put overflow hidden, because if it's covering the back and it's a weird size, we don't want any of the overflow showing. So we'll use the overflow hidden CSS command. And finally, we want to give it a position of relative. And make sure we close our opening and curly brackets here. There we are, close the brackets there. So this has actually defined a parallax class, which will keep our background image fixed in the same place. It'll cover the whole background. Any overflow will be hidden, and it'll be relative position to the rest of the site there. So if we do a quick save there, oh, I got two closed curly brackets there. I do not want that. Let's get rid of that last one. And let's give our wedding section a background image. Let's just save this. Let's go back to our site. Well, let's give it an image first. Let's do that first. If we go back to my folder, I've selected an image. If I go into my image folder, there it is. It's called WED2A. It's like I've got to clean up that gap there in my Lightbox CSS. Okay, so what we want here is a background image, and I want to put that wedding image in the background. This may not make any sense to you at all until we actually see it, which I'll show you in a minute when I've done. So let's do background image. And we want that wedding 2 picture, so we've got to give it the URL to that picture. Use that one, and we want to give it the URL of images, which is I think 2 dots and a / will get it to that folder. Yep, there it is, images right there. Each one of these 2 dots and a line is 1 folder back. So if it was 2 folders back from where the CSS file resides, you'd put ... .. for 2. If it was 3, you do 2 lots of 2 dots and /. You do that 3 times, etc. Anyway, it's in images, and it was called Wedding 2A, I believe, or Wed 2A. There it is, right there. Just make sure that's the correct image. Yep, that's right. Let's save this section now. Now when we go back to our site, there shouldn't be any content in there, but it should be 100% high section with that background image there, so I can show you what the parallax. Okay, so now we've got this done, we want to go to our HTML and give it that class that we've just created, the parallax class. Give that to our wedding section. So here's our wedding section, and we'll just put parallax after it. You can have multiple classes, just make sure you've got a gap between them. Parallax, and save that. Okay, now when we go back to our site, when we refresh, our little wedding section should be under here. Let's just refresh the site. And there we have it. And you see that image as I scroll down, is it staying exactly where it is, which is that parallax effect we were trying to get there, or false parallax I should say. Real parallax, this image would actually be moving, but it would be moving at a slower or faster rate than our foreground images here. But for our intents and purposes, I will call that a parallax section. But as you can see, it's quite eye-catching because, you know, it draws your eye to this still image that's going on there. So let's add some content. Okay, this wedding section, I want it to kind of be, didn't mean to click on that light box. I want it to be like this one right here, which is our heading white class, I believe. So let's go to our HTML. And here it is. And we'll give that the class of heading white. Just save that, and now that should be a nice little underlined section, white underlined title there. There it is. That's what we wanted right there. And let's give it some content. I think what I'm going to do here is have a sort of paragraph of text over here, and have a few packages over here, and then perhaps some wedding pictures underneath using our lightbox effect again. So let's go to our HTML and start building that. So we want another row. See, I want to get underneath this, but within the actual container itself. So I'm going to drop down one from that row div right there. You see it right there? And we want to create another one. You can just copy the one above if you want to. It's a good idea to type these things out occasionally because it does make you remember them a lot easier. Okay, so we've got our row. And we want it to be about half the size. So we want it to be about half this size here. So divide 12. This is 12 sections wide. 12 by 2. So this will be 6. So we'll give this another div and the class of column. Don't want a gap there. Mid or even large 6, it really doesn't matter. Let's make it large. Now when you've got the large, mid, small, extra small, that's how it's displayed on different devices. So on a large desktop monitor, this would be displayed as a half. If I added another class after it of column medium 12, that would mean on a large desktop monitor it would display as half a page, And if I had added a class of medium 12 after this, once it reverted to like a tablet size, it would be all the way across the page. And that's what those little large, medium, small, extra small classes mean. And you can add multiples of all different type. So I'm going to get some dummy text, and I'm going to do some paragraph text here, P for paragraph, and I'll just put some dummy text inside there. It's called lorem ipsum for designers that just want to put some text on a site to see what it's going to look like. This is what you use, and it can download it at ipsum.com if you need to use it. Okay, and let's put a span in there so we can affect it slightly differently as we did with our earlier ones. And let's put something inside span, like for your special day or something like that. I think I'm going to just change that to strong, because rather than using the span attribute and making it a different color, I just want it to be bold. So we'll just use that strong tag, and anything in between will now be in bold. And we want this text to be aligned to the left, and we want it to be white. I think I had a class, let's just save that, of text light. Let's do a search. There it is. Yeah, text light, that's fine. That's what we want for that one. So we'll give this the class. Text light. That way it should be white colored, which is what we want. But we also want it to be aligned to the left. So we'll put text left as well, which will align it to the left. Okay. That looks okay. Let's have a quick look, see what we've got here. Back to our site and do a refresh. Our text should be around here somewhere. Okay, see that's bold there, and that's not. I've got to add a little space there. That's kind of what we wanted right there. That's back to our HTML. Now I can either put a gap this side of it or a gap after it that side. Let's put a gap this side. Control save, back to our site. Let's put that gap in right there. There we go. There we go. Okay, and let's add a little button underneath here. We want it within this same div here. So it's an anchor, and we've got to give it the class of button white. I believe we had going on for our red section up above. So that would be button white. And the href, we want it pointing to the contact section. Which will be hashtag contact. If it was a separate page, it would be contact.html or whatever the page HTML name is. And we want the button to say something like get a wedding quote, or just get wedding quote. Yeah, that'll work. Let's have a quick save, see what that button looks like. We may have given some extra classes to pad them out and make sure they're all the right place. Okay, that's kind of what we want. Actually, I'd kind of like it to be like that initially, then like that on hover. I think that would look a bit tidier and show more of our image behind. And also, I'd like it to be on the left. So we've got button white, and we want it. Let's make it text left. Add a space and an extra attribute. And just save that quickly. Back to the site. Okay. We'll have to use some extra CSS to get that across. But let's change the color of this button right here. And what we'll do, we'll create a new button class that's the opposite of this. So it does that initially and that on hover by just copying it and reversing the styles. So if we go back to our CSS, let's just find our button white. Now we're getting more CSS on the page. Let's do a search, which is just Control F and type in what you're looking for. Actually, we want BTN white. There it is. Right under our nose. Right, so I'm going to copy this. And we're going to call it button white 2. Button white 2. So we want this to be white or FFF or FFF. This background color we want to be transparent. Don't know why I've got the hashtag there. Border, that's right, that's correct. And on hover, we want the color to be the 2B2B, don't we? Okay. Well, that color, background color, we want to be FFF, white. Might want to use a hashtag. There we go. Border can stay the same, that's fine. So that's fine. Let's just save that. And change that to a 2. And we actually want to, when we hit it, we want it to scroll, so we need that class of page scroll as well that we've been using with our other buttons. So let's put that there. Okay, let's save that and back to our site, and that should have changed that button out there. There we go, that's exactly what I wanted. But I do want that over to the left, and our text align left is not doing that, so we can add some extra CSS to get that done in a moment. But let's add some services over here, just, you know, different wedding packages. Let's go to our HTML. What I'm going to do is I think I'll steal 3 of these from up here. Of course, you're going to have content you want to put in, so you'll have to change things. But if I take, say, 3 of these, and then I'll just manipulate them a little bit, because these 3, what we're doing is we're going to take 3 of these. So let's go back to our HTML. We've copied those over. And where we left off, we want another 6 column to fill out the other side. So what I'm going to do is just, we want it within the row because we want it just next door to this one. I'm just going to paste these here, then I'll add the column class afterwards. let's just change these classes here. I may decide to put a row in between. I don't know. I'll leave that gap there for the time. Well, let's make this just 6 so it stays in line. We can always change this again. Let's see what we've got there. We may decide to put all these paragraph text in the same class here. Let's just save that, see what we've got so far. Yeah, that's getting there. Let's make these icons a little more appropriate and put something here that's going to be a little more appropriate too. Let's go to our HTML. And let's use some different glyphicons. Okay, let's make this one that camera we used before. And if you don't know, you can find a glyphicons cheat sheet at glyphicons.com, or just Google glyphicon cheat sheet and it'll show you all the ones up there. I know these names because I've used them before. Film is like a video package, and I think we'll use adjust again on this one. Let's add some appropriate text here. I don't know, premium package. Let's make a silver and a gold package. And save that and take a look. These should have changed here, and we should have our packages in this section here. There we go, that's a little more like it there. I still want to move that over. We might have to give it a class and push it left. Okay, that's not quite enough there, obviously. Let's just see how much we want to put it. Maybe 10 or 15 picks. Let's have a look. We got 5. Let's change it to 15. Just put a 1 in front of it. Yeah, that actually looks pretty much bang on. Okay, well, let's just change that to 15. That seems to work there. So that's back to our CSS right there. Just make that 15. And save. And I think I may want to give these a class. Just spread them out a little bit more so they line up with there a bit better. So let's go to our HTML and actually give those a class of their own. Go to our HTML. Give these a class of W2, wedding 2. I'll just copy that, including the gap. Don't think I've used that class before. Save that. We can give them a bit of extra padding on the bottom to make them spread out just a little bit more. So now if we go to our CSS and create this W2 section, open and close curly, and let's give it some padding on the bottom of, say, let's try 5 picks. We can always change it. And a quick save. back to the site and do a refresh. See what we actually need to put in here. So a bit more. I think 23 will do it. 23 seems about right. That looks fairly symmetrical right there. So we'll call it 23. Let's go back to our W2 class there and save that. Back to our site. Sorry, this video is running on a little bit, and we'll about to wrap it up. What I want to do now is add a few wedding images underneath. I think the easiest way to do that, let's just steal this section right here and change the pictures out. So let's go to our HTML again, index HTML for a change. Let's find that lightbox section, wasn't it? I think this is it here, isn't it? Yep. So I'm taking it from this row. And if you click on the opening div, there's the closing div. I think I might need this one as well. That's just the button underneath. So I'm going to take it from there to here. So let's just copy that, Control C. And back down to where we were. Now this is a whole different row, so I want to go to below this row. Still within this section. And within the container for sure. Now what I want to do is I want to change these pictures out for some new ones that I've got for the actual wedding section. So I've actually put them in my section now. Let's put those in there. It's W1 through W4. So all we need to do is change out our P's for W's right here. Obviously you may have to do something completely different for your site, but these are all just examples here. Let's do a quick save. Let's see what that looks like. Back to our site. And it should have added 4 photos in there. Let's just do a refresh. There it is. It's kind of cramped up on our section there. But that's the effect that we want. And I'm going to leave those borders in there because it just makes it stand out a bit more. But what I want to do is push them down some and maybe scoot them in a little bit. And it's not, our section's not working because I've got it set to 100%, I imagine, in our CSS. Let's have a look. Okay, I don't want the lightbox. Where is our parallax section? Right here. Height 100%. I think if I get rid of that, that should make that work. That was just purely for our demo. Let's go back to the site, refresh that. Yep, that's pretty much what I wanted. Now this section here, I want to push it down by about 100 pixels. And like I said, I may want to pad it in slightly. So let's go to our CSS. I think we may have to give this another class to push it down. So let's give it a different class. We can add a class to this row section here and It's wedding pictures, so let's call it wpic. Save that. Now we've got to create that class for our CSS. WPIC, open and close, curlies, and let's do padding top of 100 pics, because we've already got plenty of space on the bottom with our 150 pics at the bottom of the section there, so that's fine. So I want to give that, I want to bring it in by about 15. So, well, let's do this. Let's make it easier. Let's just do it all in one command here. Because kind of what I want really is, I want the top to be 100. Okay, so I want the right to be, say, 15 pics. I want the bottom to be 0. And I want the left to be 15 pics as well. Rather than writing 4 lines, let's just do it all in the one. And save that. And back to our site. This should push this down and slightly in a bit. Let's have a look, see. There we go. That's pretty much what I wanted there. I may take out a little bit of that padding rather than 100. It doesn't quite look right there for some reason. We make that 50. I think 50 looks a little tidier. That way everything's sort of contained in there. Let's change that to 50 then. And I think that will be it with our little parallax wedding section right there. So let's change that to 50. And we'll call it a day with this video. Refresh, that should stay the same. Okay, so there we have it. There's our little wedding section, our semi-parallax wedding section. And there's how to do it. And of course what we'll do in a little while is make these buttons go to the appropriate sections. In fact, let's do that quickly now. So portraits wants to go to portraits, weddings wants to go to weddings, funnily enough. So if we go back up to those buttons that we have there. Which is right here. Now is that portrait? Yeah, section ID portrait, that's going to the right place. Well, that's actually going to the right place. I must have done that already. Wedding singular. Portrait wedding. Okay, quick save. Back to the site. Refresh. See portraits. Yeah, takes us to the portrait section. It's right there. Weddings. That takes us down to the wedding section, and later on obviously we're going to add these to our menu sections up here. Sure, our light box works, that's fine. So there you have it. There is our little wedding section. Sorry this video has been so long. Once again, this has been Jamie from System22 and GreatWebDesign.com. If you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe to our channel, and don't forget you can download the code that's been changed to CSS and HTML from a PDF file below the video. Once again, thanks for watching. Have a great day.